If you like this video, please click on the like button. Comment with the names of the movies you would like us to cover next. Click the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified of our latest creations. We cover 100 movies from around the world every day. To advertise with our channel, reach out to us. Our contact information is on our channel page. Now, let's move to the plot of this movie.
As a child in Cape Town, Ali Sokela, Forrest Whitaker, witnesses the murder of his father via necklacing. Fleeing his father's murderers and on the run, a police dog hunts down Ali, leading to him being rendered a eunuch with active support of one of 3 white South African policemen. In present day, Ali is a homicide detective of the South African police. Partnered with fellow detectives Brian Epkine, Orlando Bloom, and Dan Fletcher, Conrad Kemp, the men are called to investigate the murder of Judith Botha, a young woman found in the local botanical gardens, only to uncover that Judith was alive and her best friend Nicole Weiss is the victim. However, who was found with Judith's ID? She had been beaten to death. While interviewed, Judith claims that Nicole previously spent the evening with her boyfriend. Ali encounters 2 young boys violently fighting. Both flee after Ali diffuses the fight. Ali finds a white substance at the scene. A new form of tic. A psychologically manipulating drug with severe effects depending on dosage, as well as other factors. Meanwhile, Brian is revealed to be in the process of divorce from his wife, Ruby, whom he had betrayed, and who in turn is engaged in an affair with a rich dentist. Brian's teenage son David is also growing distant from him. Brian lives a bachelor lifestyle, seems always broke, and is a functioning alcoholic. Quote, Ali confronts exotic dancer Zena at her club, Sundance, who identifies Nicole's boyfriend as Stan Quilana, a local drug dealer. At the same time, the department secretary Janet traces Nicole's phone to Muizenberg Beach. Upon arriving, Ali, Brian and Dan are attacked by a band of criminals, who proceed to mortally wound Dan with a machete. Although Ali and Brian are able to kill some of their attackers, Dan later dies in hospital, leaving his wife Claire grief-stricken. Following Dan's funeral, Ali is assigned by CTPD Captain Paul Kruger to investigate Kat, a crime lord with connections to Dan's killers. Kat denies knowledge of the crime, however is later revealed to be the distributor of the tic, and Stan, having overdosed on the drug, had unintentionally killed Nicole in a fit of blind rage, was his unwilling accomplice. Following a lead, Brian runs into local ranger Tara, who reveals she saw a black 4x4 vehicle parked outside Muizenberg Beach at the time of Dan's murder. Single quote. The following day, another woman, Kate Montgomery, is found dead in the same fashion as Nicole on Long Island Beach. Ali and Brian uncover the Zulu warrior message carved upon her chest later that same day. Stan's severed head is recovered. Ali and Brian once again confront Kat. Surprisingly, the surviving criminals from Muizenberg Beach attack Kat's hideout, killing several of his men. Ali and Brian pursue the criminals, but they are killed by Kat's thugs and Ali is wounded during the pursuit. Brian returns to the precinct and uncovers that Stan has, in the meanwhile, been labeled as Nicole's and Kate's killer. But Ali refuses to believe the case is closed because Stan was illiterate. Single quote. Without support of the CTPD, Brian and Janet privately continue to investigate together, uncovering the identity of Dr. Joost Opperman, a former scientist of Project Coast, which intended to unleash biological weaponry to be used against the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Many scientists had also vowed to eradicate the black population of South Africa, claiming they were simply following orders. Brian suspects Opperman had invented the tick to achieve the renewed goal of decimating the black population. Aware of their connections to Project Coast, Brian infiltrates the headquarters of the DPS, a private militia headed by Frank de Beer. Brian finds one of the vehicles is the same one found at Muizenberg Beach the day of Dan's death, confirming their involvement with Opperman. Later that day, Josephine, Ali's mother, is murdered in her home by Kat. Having been informed of the investigation by Ali and, unwittingly, following the hottest lead regarding how the tick was distributed among the population in the township. Upon hearing of his mother's death, Ali learns from Kat's mistress that Kat retreated to the Namib desert with Opperman. Fueled with rage, Ali flies to Namibia to hunt down Kat. Upon gathering the evidence to prosecute Opperman, Brian receives word that Ruby and her husband Rick have been taken captive by De Beer, demanding Brian relinquish the evidence in exchange for their lives. Upon arriving, Brian is captured and beaten. Rick shows his character, attempting to bribe his way to freedom, but gets shot by De Beer. After De Beer departs for Namibia, Brian breaks free and kills the resident agent, saving Ruby. The evidence confirms that De Beer murdered Kate, who actually overdosed on tick while hanging out with Stan. Kat later kills Stan. Ali and Brian arrive outside Opperman's headquarters in the Namib desert, where a revenge shootout happens. Brian captures and arrests De Beer, and Ali shoots Kat, but his wound opens again in the process. Opperman flees across the desert. Ali pursues him on foot until morning. Both men lead each other to exhaustion. Upon capturing him, Ali bludgeons Opperman to death. Before succumbing to his own wounds and dying, Brian arrives on the scene, searching for Ali with a helicopter. He finds Opperman and recovers Ali's body. Upon returning to Cape Town, Brian buries Ali and takes the opportunity to engrave his father's tombstone too.